Do you want to film the assumptions tag with Mommy? Hi, everyone. I'm Miss Fuzzy Butters. I'm sorry, are we boring you? You want to go play Bally?
Hey guys, so I totally jumped on this bandwagon and thought I would reply to some of your assumptions about me. So I put out a call on the YouTube community tab and also on Instagram through my Instagram stories. And I tried filming this video twice already, and I was doing it as like a get ready with me. And I cannot like talk and do makeup at the same time. Both times were total fails. I don't know what's wrong with me. So since I already tried filming this video twice, I know what a lot of these assumptions are. A lot of them are duplicates. So there are a lot of assumptions that I am wealthy. Let me just try and read some of them off here. I assume that you are rich and you are a boss at your job. I guess that's two assumptions. I assume you're financially well off and have had a successful career outside YouTube. And I assume you're a great friend. That's very nice. Thank you. Christina Morris, you're well off. Shanna Wheeler says, I assume you're a wealthy person to be able to afford so much luxe makeup. Christina Fernandez assumes that me and or my husband make a good amount of money. And that also I come from a wealthy family. So Denise12567 on Instagram says you come from a wealthy family, that you're crazy rich Asian, you have much disposable income. That's a very funny way of putting it. That you come from a wealthy family, super rich Asian. So I got a lot of assumptions that I have a lot of money, which I think is an incredibly fair assumption since I talk about luxury makeup and skincare. But I'm not wealthy. I would say I'm comfortable. I make a decent amount of money outside of YouTube, enough that I can take care of myself. My husband makes, a decent amount of money also, not a shit ton. We're not wealthy. I think because we don't have kids, I think that makes a huge, huge difference. Kids are expensive. So we just don't have that expense. We're also, my husband and I are both in our mid 40s. So it's funny when I watch a lot of YouTubers and they're in their, early 20s and, they're talking about how expensive things are and the struggles or whatever. And I'm like, I remember that. I remember being in my 20s, and my husband and I were actually just reminiscing about this because I forgot why we brought it up. I think maybe I was watching a YouTuber and they were talking about like, it was rough and they were living paycheck to paycheck. And we both were like, I remember those days. I remember walking around outside picking up change off of the sidewalk to buy cigarettes. They were $2.15 when I smoked. And then my husband and I, oh my God, we were laughing so hard. We almost peed in our pants, but we were talking about how we used to call into work sick because we didn't have enough money for a Subway token, which back then was $1.50. And it would be like a day or two before payday. And the day before payday, it was always fine because you're like, okay, I call into work sick one day, it's fine. 2 days, if it was 2 days before payday, we were like, oh, fuck, like this is going to seem so bad. To call into work 2 days in a row because you're sick, it never looks good. So I remember those days very, very clearly. I remember dropping clothes off to get dry cleaned, but not having enough money to pick them up. And if they're there for longer than a month, they just donate them. So I've lost clothing that way. But anyway, that is a long time past, but I don't come from a wealthy family. Both of my parents are immigrants. They worked very, very hard their entire lives. And I'm not wealthy. I'm far from wealthy. I had decided to make my channel, I decided to dedicate it to luxury makeup and skincare. And I told myself like, well, this is going to be an investment. If I want to review products, which I knew I wanted to do because that's the type of video that I always looked for on YouTube, that I knew I wanted to do reviews. I was like, this is going to be an investment. And I knew that I was going to have to dedicate a certain amount or all of my disposable income on this adventure that I was going on. And so that's what it's been like. I used to buy clothes and purses and shoes and things much more frequently, but I just don't anymore. I just spend it all on makeup. But I did just want to address that assumption because that was definitely the most popular one for sure between Instagram and YouTube. Kathleen J assumes that I secretly love Monty Python and the Holy Grail. I love Monty Python and the Holy Grail. It's not a secret though. It's definitely not a secret. I even saw the Broadway play. when they had a production of that. And there I even purchased, and I never ever buy stuff at like shows. Like I never generally get like t-shirts and programs and stuff, but I had to get, they had a hand puppet of the killer bunny. So it's this white fuzzy hand puppet with, the ears and everything and the mouth, and it has like white felt teeth. Oh my God, so funny. I freaking love Monty Python. Everything they did. I loved their TV show. I loved all their movies. Holy Grail probably is my favorite though. It's just a classic. It's just a classic. It's so, so good. I don't ever hear anyone talk about these movies. You hear people talk about older movies and quote unquote classics, but I never really hear anyone talk about Monty Python. For you younger generation out there, if you are, I'm going to put my granny glasses on. For you younger kids out there, if you have not heard of Monty Python and the Holy Grail, watch it. It's so, so funny. And it's actually a very nice history lesson between the constant tension between the French and the English. The way they depict the French is just funny. It's so funny. Anyway, love it. Love Monty Python. Cindy Wood assumes that I'm wearing sweatpants when you film. Even if I have a pretty blouse on and makeup, I like being comfortable. And then she writes, but maybe I'm projecting. I am definitely wearing sweatpants. I don't know if I can lift my leg up high enough, but there is my sweatpant with makeup on it because I'll just wipe my hands on my sweatpants. Yes. So Karl Lagerfeld just recently passed away, and he's been known to say like sweatpants are for those who have like given up on life. And so for that day when he passed away, I put on jeans. I put on pants that I had to like button and zip. I was like, this is for you, Karl. But I was dying by the end of the day. I was like, where are my sweatpants? I needed to put them on ASAP. Betty is a nickname, writes, I feel like there is probably a silly side of you that we do not fully see. I did watch your video made with Kate the Great Beauty, and you two were having so much fun. I'm dying to know more of your disliked celebrities. I am silly. I am really, really silly. There aren't many things I take seriously. Life is too short. And my husband actually says that I am the silliest person that he knows. So yeah, I am very, very silly. So there's a lot of assumptions on here between YouTube and Instagram that I don't have any kids. I don't have any kids. I've talked about this before. I don't have any kids. I've never wanted kids. And I remember people actually commenting. They were like, that's so great. And do you get any do you get any shit from like your family or your friends or whatever? And I'm like, never. That would be so judgy. And, they would tell me that they got a lot of heat from like their family to have kids or whatever. And I was like, whoa, that is like, you do not pressure someone into that decision. That is the biggest talk about taking something seriously. Okay, that I would take seriously. That is the biggest decision I feel like anyone could ever make, is having a child. But anyway, I digress. No, I don't have kids. Oh, this was another popular assumption. I got this at least twice. I think I saw this 2 or 3 times, that I'm an only child. I feel bad. I guess I don't talk about him very often, but I have an older brother. I consider us close. We don't talk that often. We don't even see each other that often, but I think I just mentioned that both of my parents were always working. So I feel like he basically, like, I don't want to say raised me. He was like my caretaker. He was always there. He was like my babysitter. He was the one that, took me around or whatever. He's the one that like watched me, that kept an eye on me. He's 4 years older. He still lives in New York City. He's a detective, part of the NYPD. And yeah, I have an older brother. Here's an interesting one. You went gray early, but only decided not so long ago to not diet, and it doesn't really bother you when people misspell your first name with 2 L's instead of 1, but you're still perplexed by the number of people who say Wong instead of Wang. Oh, well, okay. Well, actually, my last name is pronounced Wong. It's spelled with an A. And I like to just tell people, pretend it's a magic wand, W-A-N-D. It's just W-A-N-G. So it's the same way you would pronounce wand, magic wand. The only time I am confused, perplexed by the 2 L's in my first name is if I've written you an email and then you write me back and it still has the 2 L's. But I think like autocorrect always corrects Michele with 1 L to Michele with 2 L's. So it doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me at all. It doesn't even really bother me when people say Wang, because I get it. It looks like Wang, W-A-N-G, at least in this country. If I ever talk to someone from Europe, they always pronounce it Wong. They see the A and they pronounce it the like, I I don't know what the phonetic term is. It's like a soft, long A. Anyway, my last name is pronounced Wong, spelled W-A-N-G. Went gray early, but decided not so long ago to not diet. I started going gray probably around, I want to say like 39, and I'm 45. I'll be 46. So about 6-7 years ago. And it was just never a thought to diet. I just never made like an active decision because I never dyed my hair. Like I know most women, like they've been dyeing their hair since like high school. You know, I remember all my friends in high school, they got highlights and this and that. So it's just super normal. Like, oh, I'm going gray. I just have to go more often now or whatever. For me, it would be like a huge shift. It would be like something I would have to, you know, work into my routine. And I just never really thought about it. It doesn't bother me. So I'm not going to bother. I don't want to spend the money or the time to do it. I'd rather spend the money on makeup. So yeah, my hair just has to be super low maintenance. I cannot deal with super high maintenance hair. I just can't deal with it. Erin Heenan assumes that I'm an early riser and I prefer tea over coffee. Yes, I am an early riser. So I get up between like 4 and 5 a.m. Pretty much every morning, unless for some reason I went to bed super late the night before, then I'll probably get up at around 6. But yeah, I get up between 4 and 5. I like to get up before the sun rises. If the sun is already up when I get up, I feel like I missed something. I have no idea what time it is because once the sun is up, it could be 6 a.m., it could be 10 a.m. I feel really disoriented. But if I wake up and the sun isn't up yet, then I know it's like, then I feel like I know what time it is. I know that's really weird because it could be any time at night, but it just makes me feel better. It just makes me feel better. But I just naturally get up at like 4 a.m.-ish every morning. And even if I'm tired, I'll still get up and get out of bed. And, you know, I'll wake up pretty quickly. I'm a morning person. And if I have to, I'll like nap later on in the day. But I pretty much get up at the same time every day. And I do not prefer tea over coffee. I am a huge coffee drinker. I am like physically composed of like 85% coffee. I'm trying not to drink as much coffee. I drink probably on average 2 cups a day. And probably because I get up early. So I'll make a cup at like 4 a.m. And then at around 8 a.m. I need another cup. So I am a big coffee drinker. I will drink like herbal tea at night if I'm cold, kind of a thing, or chamomile if I feel like I need to relax or something, but that's really it. I'm not a huge tea drinker. Oh, this is another assumption I've seen a couple of times. You are super organized. This is from Simone in Australia, and I feel like I saw this on YouTube also. Yeah, I assume you are very organized and practical, and always calm. Thank you. Yeah, I saw that a couple of times. I don't know if I would say I'm very pragmatic in that I feel like I just always go for the more practical choice, but I don't think I'm a very practical person. I don't know why there's a differentiation in my mind, but I feel like I'm very pragmatic, but I don't think I'm always very practical. Organized? I feel like I'm organized in my thoughts, but I'm not organized like in life. Like my desk, this table, my bathroom, like everything is kind of chaotic all the time. And I used to fight it. I used to constantly be putting stuff away and trying to keep it that way or whatever. It's just not my comfort zone. Like when I'm working at my desk, I don't know if it makes me feel better, but I always seem to have a lot of stuff around, like piles of papers, notepads, pencils, pens, just stuff everywhere, old cups of coffee. And it's fine. I know a lot of people get very distracted by clutter and they can't work around it, but I think it actually kind of calms me. So I don't have like a very organized home at all. It's actually very just kind of cluttery and chaotic. And this assumption I thought was very interesting. I saw this a couple of times too. I assume you have a degree of some sort. This is from Allison. I assume you have a degree of some sort. You seem very smart and organized. There was another one. Oh, I assume you are well educated, have a lovely home, immaculate, well curated wardrobe. And Brandy Taylor assumes I was a very strong student in school. So all of this education school assumptions. So I only have a bachelor's degree. I majored in finance and marketing. at NYU, and I hated school. And I did pretty well in high school. High school was kind of easy for me, so I cut a lot of my senior year. I just basically didn't show up for school, and it was okay. You know, I still did pretty well. But in college, I pretty much didn't clean up my act and was, you know, not showing up for class often or whatever. And I did not do well in college at all. I don't know. I just don't like, I mean, I like learning. I think education is very important. And now I take a lot of like online classes and stuff. But I think for me, just the whole format of school, it just felt like a waste of time for me. I just didn't like it. Of course, there were certain like subjects that I really liked, that I really enjoyed, but as a whole, like I just hated, I don't know, I just really hated like going to this building, sitting at a desk, having the teacher like drone on and on about whatever it was they had to talk about that day. Like I just never really liked it. I would go to school for like the social aspect. I would go to school to like hang out with my friends, and I always did, you know, sports, and I was on like the paper, whatever. Like I liked doing all of that stuff, but I really hated class. I really hated sitting in class and like doing homework. It was not for me. So the idea of going to like grad school or getting anything beyond a bachelor's, it's never going to happen. Never, ever gonna happen. Here's another one that I think I saw quite a bit of. Ileana on Instagram assumes that I like to eat out more than cooking. Yes and no. On the daily, every day, I do cook only because it's cheaper and it's just, you know, it's just easier. But would I prefer going out to eat? Probably on the everyday. I like to cook, but I like to cook when it's like an event, like a huge, like all day, all week kind of deal. Like I've been buying ingredients all week. I've been, you know, preparing a menu. I've been looking for just the right recipes. That I really like. But like the cooking dinner every single night for just like me and my husband, so boring and it sucks so bad. I'm not into it. I prefer baking much more to like daily cooking. You do not talk behind people. You simply vanish yourself from people you dislike. That's pretty much how I handle stuff. I mean, it depends. So if you're just sort of acquaintance and maybe I've been getting to know you or whatever, and you start doing things that I don't like or don't agree with, or I don't feel like we click or we're not really good friends, then I'll just kind of fade a little bit. You know, I'll just kind of keep my distance. I generally try to see the good in everyone, and I'm not someone to make a really quick decision about people. I like to definitely give people the benefit of the doubt, and I like to give them chances. But I do also kind of keep like a running kind of tally of like if you've fucked up, like if you have crossed me in a certain way, or if you have said something a little off color in my book, I'll kind of make mental note of that. And, you know, if there are too many strikes, if that list gets too long, then I'm like, okay, I'm done with this person. I may not cut you out of my life, but we'll never have a deep relationship. It'll never go beyond anything very superficial. Here is one on Instagram. You have a deep understanding and appreciation of yourself. You are confident. Deep understanding and appreciation of yourself. I think I do understand myself. I mean, I am going to be 46. If you don't understand yourself by the time you're in your mid-40s, you should really sit down and try and do so, because that's a long time to get to know yourself. And I know myself very, very well. And I do appreciate myself. And I think it's unfortunate, but I think a lot of people don't really appreciate themselves. I don't think enough people truly understand how amazing they are. No matter what you do or how much money you make or what you look like, I think you have to appreciate yourself. If you don't appreciate yourself, no one is going to. That's my feel-good motto for the day. And you are confident. I don't know if I'm confident. I think here's an example. Okay, let's say you're going out to a party. I think someone who's confident will look at themselves in the mirror and be like, I look good. I'm ready to go. Maybe someone who's not confident would look in the mirror and think, oh God, is this dress okay? I think I look fat. Do I look okay? I'm not sure. Maybe I should change. Is everyone else going to be wearing a dress? Am I going to be overdressed? You know, all the self-doubt kind of creeps in. I'm someone who just wouldn't even look in the mirror. I would just walk out the door and just want to get to the party and get to wherever the food was, basically. I don't know that I actually think I'm very confident. I just don't really think about stuff like that very much. And I think that goes back to not being very emotional. I just kind of go about my day. I just kind of go about my business. Yeah, I don't dwell on those kinds of things. Like if I go out with my husband, I will do the basic check, you know, I'm like, do I have toilet paper hanging out of my pants? Do I have a booger hanging out of my nose? Things like that. But do I have anything in my teeth? But that's about it. I'm not like, do I look okay or whatever? Like, I don't care. I don't really care. So I don't know. I don't know if that's confidence. I don't think that's confidence. I think that's apathy. I think I've perfected apathy in a way. Anna Marie on YouTube assumes that even if I could make YouTube my full-time career, I wouldn't. You would still do your day job. Yeah, probably. I mean, I like my day job. I like who I work with. I like what I do. So again, not something that I've really thought about. It's definitely not an option at the moment. Maybe when it becomes an option, I'll have to sit down and think about it. But yeah, at the moment, I don't think so. Desiree Jenkins assumes that I own a cat and that I own heavy metal band shirts, Poison, AC/DC, Metallica. I own a dog, as you guys have seen, and I don't own a cat. I'm actually allergic to cats. And I don't think I have any like metal band shirts. I think I have, but they were all so old that I had to kind of get rid of them. But I mean, I was kind of born and bred Jersey, so I do love a good hair band. I loved Poison when that first album came out, and AC/DC. My brother used to play AC/DC when we were little all the time. I would fall asleep to like Back in Black and Hell's Bells. Metallica, I like Metallica a lot. Never had any Metallica t-shirts. I really liked Iron Maiden. I didn't like Iron Maiden music, but I liked Iron Maiden artwork. Their album cover artwork is phenomenal. But my favorite band of this genre is Def Leppard. Love Def Leppard. I went to the Hysteria concert and it was so good. It was at the Brendan Byrne Arena in Jersey. It's not called that anymore. That's how old I am. I have no idea what it's called, but the stage is in the middle. So you don't really have a bad seat because they don't turn the stage, but they'll set up differently. And anyway, and the huge thing then was they had like a laser light show during the concert. And that was huge then. This was probably in 1980. When was I in high school? It was probably like 1989 or 1990. Maybe it was 1990 was when I went to this concert. And it was just awesome. But yeah, lasers, like they were just like those green lasers and they just did like super, super cheesy. At this point, like super old, cheesy technology. But back then it was like amazing. Janine assumes that I did shots of tequila once when I was young, but got sick and never touched the stuff. That is so eerily accurate. So eerily accurate. I did shots of tequila once, actually a shot of tequila once. I don't even know how old, 20? Maybe I was 20. But it smelled like gasoline and it tastes like gasoline, but it, no joke, like hit my stomach and then came right back up. And I was like, I'm going home. And that was it. That was the last time I touched the stuff. Lori assumes that my favorite color is black. Why, yes, it is. What makes you think that? I also got a lot of assumptions that I have like an amazing purse collection. That is pretty accurate too. I really like handbags, and I haven't purchased many in recent history, but I used to like love them. I used to go a little crazy in my 20s and 30s and go absolutely nuts. So I really like my collection. Like my collection is so old at this point where I feel like it's kind of cool again. Like I have one of the original Fendi baguette bags and now they're kind of back again. And I'm like, has it been that long? But I guess it has, because I bought mine in 1990, somewhere around 97, maybe 98. And I'm like, that's more than 20 years ago. I'm old. Oh, so Carolyn WAMG on Instagram, she wrote, you have amnesia at first, and then she wrote, shoot, I meant insomnia, not amnesia. I saw the amnesia and I was like, I have amnesia? I do not have insomnia. I sleep like I'm dead. And another thing that my husband has commented, makes fun of me constantly, is I'll fall asleep as he's talking to me, and I will fall asleep before my head hits the pillow almost every night. It's a gift. I don't know. People usually are like, "Oh my God, that's so amazing." I'm like, my house could be burning down around me and I wouldn't wake up. I wouldn't wake up. I think I mentioned this in reply to another assumption, but I can fall asleep anywhere, anytime, and I just sleep really, really heavily. But I do need a lot of sleep. I need like 8 or 9 hours of sleep. So to wake up at between 4 and 5, I usually am in bed between 8 and 9. And if I'm not, I don't feel well. I just start to not feel well. And I can do it, I'll stay up if there's like a late dinner or whatever, but I am not at my best, especially because I've been up for so long at that point. But no, I don't have insomnia. And you're not good with tech products. That was her other assumption of me. I'm actually very good at tech products. I am very techie. I really, really like technical stuff. I used to work in technology at one time or another, like almost all the different parts, like networking. I worked with like telephones, like setting up big telephone systems. And I also ended up like doing software and training and stuff like that. So anyway, I'm actually very, very technical. And I'm the technical one in the family. My husband is fine. He can be technical too, but I am definitely like the tech person. So there's so many like really nice ones, but I've been recording for a really long time. So I'm just gonna do one more. And this is from Messy S World. You feel awkward when someone compliments you. That is true. It's definitely something I used to feel very awkward about, like, in my 20s when I was younger. And then it's like you kind of realize, like, when you start complimenting people and they don't take it well, it just makes the whole conversation like really, really weird. So I'm like, just accept the compliment and move on. And while internally it definitely makes me feel very awkward, I try and be very gracious about it because I don't want it to get weird. You know what I mean? So if someone's like, "Oh, you look pretty today," I'm like, "Oh, thanks so much. So do you," and move on. But inside I'm like cringing. I'm like cringing a lot. So yes and no. I really try and act like an adult and accept the compliment like a normal human. But inside I am totally cringing. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm sorry I couldn't get to everyone's assumptions, but you guys are the best for writing in and helping me create this video and allowing me to have you guys see more of me, because I'm always trying to reveal more of my personality, but it's very hard when you're just kind of like reviewing a palette. It's kind of hard. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up if you did. Please comment down below if you have any comments at all, and subscribe before you leave. I'll see you in my next video.